Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of At Home with the Lincolns. I'm your Jorge, and in today's episode we're going to look at the election year of 1860. Today, it is well known how contested that election was and what was the outcome of it. In November of 1860, Abraham Lincoln was elected the leader of a nation that was divided on the issue of slavery. In today's video, I would like to share with you a couple of episodes in Lincoln's road to the White House that don't get much attention, but are quite important to understand him as a politician and as a family man. Lincoln's defeat against Douglas in the Senate race of 1858 had an unexpected effect on Lincoln's political career. Although Lincoln thought he would sink out of view and shall be forgotten, as he explained in a letter to a friend after the debates, a group of prominent Republicans had a different plan. Can defeat lead to something positive? Let me know what you think in the comments below. In 1860, the leading candidates to compete for the Republican nomination for president included Simon Cameron of Pennsylvania, Simon P. Chase of Ohio, Edward Bates of Missouri, and William Henry Seward of New York. Although Seward was the favorite, a few members of the Republican leadership were not all on board with his platform and opinion that there was a higher law than the Constitution. Not completely satisfied with their options, in February 1860, a group of Republicans sponsored by the Young Men's Central Republican Union of New York was on the lookout for a more moderate candidate. Among the prospective candidates invited to New York to give an address was Abraham Lincoln. On February 27, 1860, at Cooper Union in New York City, Lincoln was scheduled to give the most important address of his life up to this point. Lincoln's law partner, Herndon, said later that no former effort in the line of speech-making had cost Lincoln so much time and thought as this one. Lincoln's Cooper Union address was applauded by Republicans in New York and appraised by many more across the nation. Lincoln's speech could be interpreted as a continuation of the ideas he expressed during his arduous debates against Douglas. For example, in New York, Lincoln explained that 21 of the 39 signers of the Constitution were on record that the federal government could prohibit slavery in the national territories. This was an argument to counter Douglas's interpretation of the Constitution. Lincoln also used this opportunity to reach out to the South when explaining that Republicans were no threat to slavery where it already existed. Finally, Lincoln spoke to the North and encouraged them to persist in excluding slavery from the national territories, and therefore confined it to the states where it already existed. Let us have faith that right makes might, Lincoln expressed. And in that faith, let us, to the end, dare to do our duty as we understand it. Lincoln returned home after his East Coast tour, ready to build a subtle case for his nomination among Illinois Republicans. After receiving the endorsement of Illinois Republicans and having on site the Republican National Convention that was scheduled in Chicago on May 16 to 18, Lincoln built a coalition of allies to work on his behalf during the contested convention. While Republicans were gathered in the Chicago wigwam, a temporary structure that was built specifically for the convention, Abraham Lincoln remained in Springfield awaiting for the news. On May 18, a telegram arrived at the Lincoln and Herndon office, letting Lincoln know that his name was up for nomination. Moments later, a new telegram arrived with the results of the first ballot. Seward, 173. Lincoln, 102. Bates, 48. Cameron, 50. And Chase, 49. Lincoln needed 233 to win. Later in the day, the results of the second ballot arrived. Seward was still in the lead with 184.5, and Lincoln trailed second with 181 after Pennsylvania switched votes to favor Lincoln. While waiting in the Illinois State Journal office, Lincoln received the final notice that he had won the nomination unanimously. Promptly, he said, "Gentlemen, there is a little woman at our house who is probably more interested in this dispatch than I am." In one day, Abraham Lincoln went from being an ordinary man to the Republican presidential nominee. This was something that the people of Springfield and this neighborhood noticed immediately. The Lincoln home was now the center of attention in Springfield. On Saturday, May 19, 1860, the Lincoln family was ready to host the official Republican presidential nomination notification committee that arrived at their home to notify Lincoln about his nomination. Now, Willie and Tad were just as excited as their father. They greeted the delegation right here at this gate, and soon after they walked into the Lincoln home where Lincoln and Mary was waiting for them in the parlors. Lincoln accepted the nomination in this room. Have you ever had to make a difficult choice? Lincoln understood that the choice made in here would have a tremendous impact on him and his family. Due to the weight of that decision, Abraham Lincoln took 4 days to accept the nomination. Throughout this series, we have seen all the memories that the Lincolns made here at home. We have also seen out of Lincoln's political defeats and victories. We can only imagine all the things that were in Lincoln's mind as he was talking to Mary in this room, figuring out what would be the best choice or decision for them, for their family, and for this nation. As history tells us, Lincoln accepted the nomination, and we can say that the first step in the election of 1860 was made in here.